The GuliKit TMR joysticks have arrived. They were about $19 for the 2 joysticks and 2 thumb knobs. Now these are not bulk in a bag parts. They're packaged for retail sale. And it only took 7 days to get them, all the way from Hong Kong. So I think the $19 is quite reasonable. The packaging is very nice, really should protect them from almost any shipping abuse. Thumb knobs are very nice feeling, a bit different design from the original DualSense. Joystick is very solid feeling, very even tension, and good snap back to the center. So people that don't like the soft feel of the Gen Full joysticks should like these. First thing I'm going to check is the voltage output from the sensor. Have the power supply set to 1.8 volts. That's the voltage the sensor runs on in the DualSense controller. The ground pin is at the top, the 1.8 volts is applied to the bottom pin, and the meter is connected to the center pin, the sensor output. This is the up-down axis, and the voltage output is just about perfect. Let me get it in a good position. This axis really returns to center, maybe the best I've ever measured. That's kind of impressive. At the up mechanical limit, about 130 millivolts. At the down mechanical limit, about 1.61 volts. So it gets a little closer to ground than the 1.8 volts. Still a very good reading. Up at about 45 degrees, getting right around 300 millivolts. And down at 45 degrees, output is about 1.48 volts. I think circularity is going to look good here. Should fill out the circle, or be extremely close. Now to check the left-right axis. Center position voltage is not the 900 millivolt goodness of the up-down axis, but 840 is fine. Again, a very tight return to center range. There may be a bit more initial tension than the Alps joystick, and that may be what is giving the nice center values. Output goes a little lower than the up-down axis for the left position, and a bit higher for the right position. Looks very good. Those are nice looking readings, so these are off to a good start. Let me see what is under the sensor housing. Sensor housing snaps off like all the others, a clip on each side. Definitely has a magnet in it, but it's made more like a potentiometer, more like the Favor Union than the Gen Full. Now that does look like an Alps frame and shaft layout. Here's a standard Alps joystick that comes in a DualSense controller. Okay, sensor housing snaps right onto the standard Alps joystick frame, so could just replace the sensors and not remove the joystick frame. But I would say the GuliKit joystick feels a bit better than the Alps. Feels a bit more solid, or maybe a better word would be rigid. But this is a used Alps stick here, so if the mechanical part of the joystick is in good shape, it would be much easier to just change the sensors. Wow, that is a tiny little magnet, and no sensor I see visible from the back of the sensor. Let me see where the poles are on the magnet. A lot of energy there. The poles are on the end of this loose magnet that came from a Gen Full joystick. Looks like the poles are on the face of these GuliKit magnets. Yes, sure looks like the front and back are the poles. So that means these work quite different than the Hall sensors I've looked at so far. Can see how much smaller the magnets in these are compared to the Gen Full magnet. Now to see if I can tell how fast the sensor is. My test setup is still a work in progress. I've got the sensor mounted on a test board, but I don't think I can position this sensor like the other Hall sensors. This is how I would position the Hall sensors for testing, so I'll start with that. Channel 1, the yellow trace, is the current through the electromagnet. The electromagnet is run at one polarity for the first 50 milliseconds, and then the polarity is reversed for the last 50 milliseconds. Channel 2, the green trace, is the voltage from the joystick sensor. And can see it outputs almost nothing. There is a little bit of signal there, probably because I don't have the sensor perfectly parallel to the magnetic field. I'm going to try and position it at as much of an angle as I can while trying to keep the sensor inside the coil. I can see now I'm going to have to make some different test PC boards to hold this type of sensor. Okay, now that gives me a good signal. Let me adjust it so I can see a bit better. Looks like the sensor output is following along with the magnetic field pretty closely. Let me expand the sweep time and get a closer look at the rise time and delay. Rise time is going to be faster than I can measure with this setup. It's following right along with the magnetic field, so it's fast. This is like moving along the entire axis of the joystick in less than 3 milliseconds. Faster than one can physically move the joystick with a thumb. Let me expand a bit more and see what the delay looks like. I'm at 5 microseconds of division now. Delay may be under a few microseconds. I just don't see any. Of course, there has to be some delay. It's probably hidden in the switching transients. Here, I've adjusted the gain of the magnetic current waveform to match the voltage from the sensor. Rise of the magnetic field here takes about 3 milliseconds. Can see the sensor output is right with it, so can be pretty sure rise time is going to be less than 3 milliseconds. Let me take a look at the fall time and delay. I'll invert the magnetic current waveform and see how it matches the sensor voltage. Still at 1 millisecond of division here, and fall time looks just like rise time. This is a very fast sensor. And I'm looking for a signal delay here, and I just don't see it. These seem to be extremely fast. These look to be a bit faster than the favor union sensors, and the favor union are plenty fast, so response time from these should be great. Let me see how they do in a controller, as that is the most important point. Both left and right sticks are the GuliKit TMR joysticks. I've calibrated the controller, and here's the result. They are well centered, but with calibration everything is well centered now. But one thing that is noticeable is the lower noise. It appears lower than the case silver or the favor union, while being as fast or faster than either. Now I'm expecting good circularity, and that looks good. It's not an extremely low average error, but it does fill out the circle. Nowhere is it short of the circle, and I think that is more important than a 1% error. Very happy with that. As I record this, I've only had an hour or so to use the controller with these new joysticks. I do plan on a follow-up video after using them for a few weeks, but I wanted to get this timing info up, as several people have asked about them. The response time of these joysticks is as fast or faster than the favor union Hall effect joysticks, but with better circularity and less noise. It's like getting the speed of the favor union and the circularity of the Gen Full V5s in a single joystick. The best of both worlds, one could say. Now these do cost more, though it is hard to compare the price of a retail packaged product to a bag of bulk joysticks. But I would expect these to cost a bit more to manufacture, so not an unreasonable price. That being said, I am impressed with these. Matter of fact, I just ordered another set. They feel really good in the controller, and I don't know if that has to do with the thumb knobs that came with the kit or the joystick mechanism itself. So I'm planning on installing one of these joysticks with the original DualSense thumb knob and see how that feels. Stay tuned to see how that turns out. I will put the AliExpress link in the description, but if you have problems with it, go to GuliKitOfficial.aliexpress.com. Then go to the Products tab, and from there move down till you find the GuliKit TMR electromagnet joystick with stick caps. This PS5 kit I ordered listed it also fits the Switch Pro controller, and there are options to order a kit for the PS4 and the Xbox Series controllers, so make sure you select the correct kit when you order. These look to be just about perfect, but if you're still not sure, subscribe and give me a few weeks. I'll give an update on them. Thank you for watching.